This is our continuation of our Don't F with the Original series, where we're going to review original movies that are currently being remade.
I'm Nicholas. I do research in astrophysics.
And I am Dimitri, editor-in-chief of Idiomanic and film critic. Today, as you might have guessed from the music, we are reviewing Total Recall.
How would they have guessed that from the music?
Because they heard the music and they might have guessed it.
Yeah, because your rendition was dead on.
Well, I also put the real soundbite before.
Oh, okay.
Somebody's not listening to the product.
No, I don't. I really don't.
Alright, so Total Recall. Arnold Schwarzenegger plays John Quaid. He's a construction worker married to the gorgeous Sharon Stone, who spends most of the movie really sweaty for some reason. Not that I'm complaining. And he's just fascinated with the planet Mars, even though he's never been there. It's 2012. We've colonized Mars at this point. And the world has not ended, despite what Roland Emmerich says. And
the Mayans are saying that, not Roland Emmerich.
Actually, the Mayans are not saying anything about 2012. That's what led to the speculation.
That's a good point.
So he's dreaming of Mars all the time, and he decides to take a little recall vacation. Now, a recall vacation is for people who don't actually want to take a vacation, but just want to have the memory of having taken a vacation. They mess with your mind. They implant memories of a vacation in your head.
Yeah.
So he goes there and he takes the secret agent package, where he'll have the memories of a secret spy adventure and get to enjoy that, which to me is really weird, because it's sort of like, that's fake, you know?
Yeah, so how can they guarantee that the memories are... You won't know that the difference between these memories and your real memories. He knows he's not a spy, so if he gets the spy package, he'll know those are implanted memories. That's just weird to me. But
I agree.
It's just a small nitpick, really.
Yeah. I said I was a spy for 2 weeks.
Yeah. Then I quit. It wasn't for me.
It seems like a line of business where you'd create a lot of paranoid schizophrenics down the line. I'm just saying. And it's like, that's exactly where the story goes. Something goes wrong with the recall process, and they realize that this guy already has spy memories, or so we're told. And they just sort of dump him in a taxi somewhere, trying to get rid of him. And then a real spy plot unfolds, which involves the colonization of Mars and him being a triple, quadruple agent, and everybody he knows not being who they really are, and all of that.
Yeah.
And to say any more details about it, I guess, would be spoilery, because you sort of discover that journey along with him. But suffice to say that he sort of steps into a James Bond movie where everything's a conspiracy.
Yes. It was what it set out to be, a vehicle for Arnold Schwarzenegger, and that was about it. It was the point of this movie was to see Arnold do action stuff, and it delivers that. To me, the story and the whole, the mystery and everything was kind of subpar to me. But you had kick-ass action from Arnold, and if you go in the movie wanting that, which is what most people did in 1990, hey, it's an Arnold movie, let's go watch it, he'll kick ass. And that's what you get, really.
It's funny, I have actually a different take on that. It's based on a Philip K. Dick story, which they've actually adapted a couple of times, if I recall. Total Recall. And for a second there, I thought I had broke Nick.
You kind of did.
And it's directed by Paul Verhoevens, who, of course, did RoboCop, Starship Troopers, Showgirls. And he has a peculiar sense of humor, and when I was watching it, there is that sort of sense of distance to it, where I don't think it's a vehicle for Arnold in the sense of, like, you want to see him kick ass, he kicks ass. I think that's what the producers thought they were getting, but it feels a little bit like Verhoeven is taking the piss out of Schwarzenegger, because the violence is actually mostly played for laughs when you look at it. There's a dude shooting a rat, and the blood splatters all around the screen on Arnold's face. I'm a freaking rat, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
And the violence is so extreme. Like when there's a scene where they start shooting each other on an escalator, and everybody dies on the escalator, and nobody cares. And just to drive the point home that they think that's kind of funny, they actually show Arnold stepping on the bodies before leaving. Like, just flat out walking on a guy's head because he doesn't give a damn.
Yeah, well, he's running away. He's not really,
No, he's not being mean, the character, but it's just sort of like they deliberately show a shot of, like, Arnold having absolutely no care for human life at this point.
But it's still Arnold doing Arnold stuff, action stuff, and that's what that's what most people went into, wanting to see that movie. I guess that's why people think it's so great.
But I think you're supposed to take it with a certain distance, is what I'm saying. I think it's taking it a little bit as a joke. I think it's making fun a little bit because the violence is so ridiculous.
Yes, it is. That's true.
People lose limbs in the most idiotic ways in that movie.
Yeah, with an elevator, just and then the elevator he holds on, and then you have two arms. Arnold's holding on to two arms.
It's like a Simpsons cartoon.
Yeah, and of course, every time something violent or stupid happens, you have Arnold who can deliver one-liners like nobody else, who just chimes in.
Yeah, I think they're making fun of his persona because he's not playing the Arnold character. He's not the tough guy. He's a lot more relaxed. He's a lot more, I'm an everyday guy, and then, another persona emerges and he's like a total douchebag for no reason.
Yeah.
And the bad guys do really wickedly weird, idiotic stuff. Like, there's a scene where one of the bad guys from Mars, gets really angry and he smashes an aquarium. And the shot of the fish starts losing air. And you're like, why are you filming this? This is just... And I really feel it's Paul Verhoeven doing his usual shtick. He's a very subversive director. Like, RoboCop is a social satire more than a science fiction movie when you think about it, with the commercials and everything.
Yeah.
And I think he's doing the same thing here as he did with Starship Troopers as well, where it looks like an action film, but the more you look at it, he's really just taking the piss out of it.
I guess so. I did not watch it thinking about that. Yeah. So I was just, seeing it as a vehicle for Arnold. And, you have the action, but I guess it does, compared to his other vehicles, it does not deliver as much action. Mm-hmm. So I guess I could see it in your way then. But yeah, I did not get it. I did not get it at all when I watched it. So I guess, maybe you had to know who was directing it, because I see Arnold Schwarzenegger. I don't expect him to make parody of his own movies like that. I just came in watching it saying, okay, this is an Arnold movie. Let's watch Arnold kick ass.
And he does that at the end, but throughout, I think, the first hour and a half, it's actually more him running away from shit.
Yeah, it's true.
And I like the running away, actually. I like the first hour and a half a lot more than I like the climax, where it's just kicking ass and taking names, where I sort of got tired at that point. But the first hour and a half I thought was really cool, because it reminded me a little bit of Fifth Element, which of course came later, but it reminded me of that, where it's full of colorful set pieces that are just there because. There's the fat woman that's actually a suit.
Yeah.
Is really cool in terms of concept and special effects. It's completely grotesque and nonsensical, but it's pretty cool. What else? The Johnny Cab robot.
Yeah.
Like they're fleshing out a world that's full of really quirky, fun things, but none of those lead anywhere.
The tracer in his head, that he has to wear a towel around his head. It looks ridiculous.
This is what I mean about the humor, though. Yeah. Where they just have the guy running around with a stupid towel on his head.
Yes. I can see it now. I'm going to have to rewatch it with that point of view then, see if I like it more.
Yeah. I think the movie works on that level. I think as something that you take some distance from and watching it, it's pretty funny. And it's colorful. Like, there's some really creative set pieces in there.
Yeah.
And a vision of the future that's weirdly not too far off. Like, obviously, we didn't colonize Mars. Unless we have, and they're hiding it from us. But, like, small details as when he goes to what's essentially a space airport, and he passes by the X-ray thing.
Yeah.
It's colorful, it's cool, it looks cool, but it's sort of like it's not too far off to where we're at this point.
Yes, that's true. And, holograms that, make you, sense your movement, and, you do exercise like they do, kind of like, what video games are right now with the Wii and the new things from the Xbox.
Yeah.
Kind of like the same thing. So yeah, they have a lot of things where you're like, that's interesting. They're kind of getting close there.
Yeah, I mean, like, even the recall process where you pretend to be a special agent, they have that now, where they have the special agent vacation, where they stage an entire scenario and you play through it as part of your vacation package. Those actually exist now.
Yeah.
It's weird how not too far off, even the design of the house and everything, which is very 80s based, but like just a little bit warmer, and it's sort of like, yeah, that's sort of what architecture looks like today. The way everything's built underground, everything's interior now. That's definitely a direction we're going in. Yeah. It's weirdly accurate.
Yeah, although certain other things, like it's funny that they have all this futuristic stuff, and yet Arnold works as some guy that just drills rocks and like in construction guy. They don't. I'm not sure if they even still did that in the 90s. They use dynamites and explosives now. You know, nobody drills like that. And it was like, I guess it was just a scene to show Arnold's muscle, and it was just an excuse to show his big body. But
you know what it reminded me of, though? And I don't know if it's intentional or not. I'm not saying it is, but it might have been, considering it's Verhoeven. It looked like the Flintstones. It looked like he was Fred and his friend was Barney.
I could see that. There was no dinosaur, though. It was great.
Well, what made me laugh, though, is that they're, like, the guys with the, like, everybody else around them have helmets, but they don't for some reason. Like, the two guys talking, no helmet. It's like, you can just imagine Arnold on the set going, like, no helmet for me.
Yeah.
It's like, why?
And you're the guy who's bald, and no helmet for me either. Messes up my hair.
Okay, so the dream thing, which is a huge aspect. Throughout the entire movie, there's the question of whether or not he's actually just living out his spy fantasy from his memories, or if, you know, he really is a spy.
Yeah.
And it makes it suspicious because all the spy stuff sort of happened all at once the minute he goes into the recall center.
Yeah.
And suddenly he steps into a James Bond movie. Like, he even has that scene with the Q where he gets a package where it's like, here's your gadgets, or here's a watch that does holograms, here's a thing here's a bunch of guns.
Yeah.
I don't think that part actually works.
No, I don't think either. I think I saw the guy that came in to explain you're still living your dream that you paid for, and that part had totally flew my mind at that point. I was watching the movies thinking this is some more stuff happening to Arnold, you know, and he's trying to go Mars to figure out what's happening, and all of a sudden you're reminded, remember at the beginning of the movie you went to get your dream thing and you wanted to be a spy? Well, this is it. And I just don't buy it because it really wasn't, you know, hadn't been that much of a big deal out of it, and it was like, no, I don't buy it.
Yeah, and it's a weird thing where they explain at the beginning of the movie where things go wrong, and they go like, he's going to neuro something shock.
Yeah.
And the guy you're talking about near the third act, I think, who shows up, he uses that same term and goes like, well, as you know, you're having a no breakdown. You're like, but he wouldn't have heard that because he was sleeping while the doctors were arguing about that at the beginning of the movie. So how could that be part of his memories? Like, there's so many parts of the movie where he's not there. So how could that be part of his memories?
Yeah.
And they say he's having a breakdown, but we didn't implant memories in him. He already had the memories. So you're like, okay, so you're having your cake and eating it too in the same scene, you know, where you're saying, oh, no, it's all fake. Oh, but it's not. It's all true. By the same characters in the same sentence.
Yeah, that's true. And his whole explanation, well, if it's a dream, I can shoot you. And it's like, then his whole, you know, no, you can't. And he comes up with a giant long explanation. It's like, okay, you just lost him right now. You should have said, you know, yeah, but what will that going to bring you or something?
Yeah.
You know, they did good in Inception, for example, when the guy, you know, said, you know, well, if this is a dream, if I shoot myself, I'll wake up. And the guy said no, and he gave him an actual good reason. No, you can't do that because, and he gave him, you know, something that actually made sense at the time while I was watching it. But he just came out with like 3 long sentences of just jargon, and you're like, no, I don't buy it. I really don't.
Yeah. And of course, there's also the possibility that that's just part of his package. There's 3 possibilities really in this movie. Either it's all real.
Yeah.
Either it's all part of his package.
Yeah.
And by which I mean the package he buys as a vacation package, not Arnold's junk.
Yeah.
Or he's having a mental breakdown and it's his own fantasy flying off.
Yeah.
The fantasy flying off, we just talked about it. It's really hard to buy. This is all part of his package is also hard to buy because near the end of the movie, the Mars society is changed substantially, let's just say, without going into spoilers. If that's part of his vacation package, he's going to have, like, some really big cognitive dissonance when he wakes up, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, I went to Mars and I saved Mars and completely redesigned the ecosystem over there. Really? Because it's the same as when you left it 2 weeks ago. Really?
Really?
That's strange.
I want my money back.
So really that only leaves one option, really. There's only one way the movie works, and if it's all true.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, well, we mentioned Arnold. Let's talk about the acting. We can't talk about Arnold without talking a little bit about the acting.
Surprisingly good.
Yeah, he's really relaxed in this movie.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when initially at the beginning when he goes to recall center to get his memory, and I was expecting Arnold having a coherent conversation with another human being. I was expecting it to be clunky as hell, and him just. But no, it was like actually two human beings having a normal conversation. I mean, the guy like interested in getting a vacation was like, yeah, he's buying a vacation package. I buy it.
Yeah, no, he's super. I had the same reaction where I was like, wow, this is actually pretty good acting for Arnold. He's super casual and super sort of almost nonchalant about it. Yeah. Like, you know what it comes off as? It comes off as one of those infomercials. Where it's like, he plays one of the guys going like, tell me about your memory vacation. It was like, you can do this, you can do that. And it's like, really? Tell me more. But wouldn't that do this? And it comes off exactly that tone, and it's the right tone to play. Like, it comes off really funny and casual and just doesn't distract you from the story.
Yeah, exactly. So he was good.
And he never goes into full-on Arnold persona. Even when he's kicking ass, there's something a little bit more clever about him in this movie than, in, say, Commando or Predator.
Yeah. No, you can't compare this to Commando. Commando was just ridiculous Arnold personality the whole time. He is actually a human being in this one.
Yeah. But it's one of the rare movies where he is.
Yes, that's true.
But, like, as good as an actor he is, though, I was more captivated by poor Michael Ironside, who plays a henchman.
Yeah.
Who everything bad happens to him, pretty much. Like, if you can think of something bad happening to the guy, it's gonna happen to him eventually in the movie.
That's true.
And he's so lost, like, he's a henchman, and he doesn't fully understand his boss's plan. He's just constantly frustrated because he doesn't know where this is going.
Yeah, he doesn't understand that his boss doesn't want to tell him his plan, and he's trying to, get Arnold, stop Arnold, and he's just doing the wrong thing over and over and over again. It's really, you feel bad for the guy at one point there.
I know. He's unequivocally evil. He's an evil henchman. But near the half of the movie, I was like, can't the guy just catch a break? Like, he just lost his wife, and she banged someone else before too. And
he does get this moment at the end there, short-lived moment, but he gets it.
He does. He's I like him. It's just Michael Ironside sort of acting circles around everybody else is sort of how it comes across. He's having his own little movie. Like, they are making a remake of Total Recall, and I actually would be interested to see this movie from the point of view of Michael Ironside's character.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. Well, being a scientist, I have to talk about the science fiction part of it.
Yes, I was hoping you would bring it up, because
painful.
Yeah.
First of all, they're on Mars, of course. It's low pressure. It's not quite a vacuum, but it's low pressure. And everything is made out of glass that breaks. You're like, come on, at least, bulletproof glass or solid stuff, please. And
that bothered you?
Yeah.
See, what bothered me is the idea that the human body is pressure dependent. That bugs me so much.
Well, certain organs are, like your eyes, but no, the rest is fine. I mean, you're going to lose the air in your lung. You won't be able to capture it. But, that's the thing. One goes with the other. If you're going to make your body, the human body, super pressure dependent in your movie, you're going to make your glass bulletproof so that, you don't have your body have to be subjected to the low pressure. One goes with the other.
Well, speaking of the glass, what made me laugh is at some point they break the glass.
Yeah.
And then everybody starts flying off into the vacuum there.
Yeah.
And the guard has to press the button so that the metallic shield goes down to stop that.
Yeah.
And you're like, I think I could win a Nobel Prize by just automating that system.
Yeah.
It seems to me if there's a vacuum that's going to kill everybody, the door should just slide down automatically.
Yeah. They have like windows now. The wipers start when there's water on it. Okay, so I think you can sense a vacuum. You can have the doors closed.
Between that and proposing to the Intergalactic Empire in Star Wars to add ramps to their corridors and bridges, I think it could make a fortune.
Yes. And of course, Mars. Mars is a funny planet where the core is made out of ice. Really? And there's a problem with adding, air to Mars. Mars doesn't have an atmosphere because it can't retain it. So if you're trying to add extra gas, it's not going to be able to retain it anymore.
Yeah, the movie seems to think that air creates atmosphere.
Yeah.
And that process takes exactly 37 seconds.
Yes. Actually, water creates air, which creates an atmosphere. Which, how does that work exactly? Water creates oxygen, which creates an atmosphere. It's like, okay, Fine, Arnold is kicking ass at this point. Let's just gloss over the details and look at Arnold kicking ass, but...
Well, he's not, though. He's actually not kicking ass at that point in the movie.
That's true. That's true. He's trying to explain it. Arnold explaining science is a weird sight.
No, but I gotta get back to this. I am just so bugged the crap out of, like, the bodies sort of exploding, like, because when they go into Mars without atmosphere, they sort of swell up and start exploding, and that looks stupid to me.
Yeah.
And I actually had this argument with one of our acquaintances. You'll know right away who it is.
Is he an engineer?
Yes, he's an engineer.
Okay.
Who, as an engineer, considers himself a big shot scientist, especially when they talk to me, because I'm in the arts, and as a technical writer, I have to deal with scientists a lot. Well, I'm no longer a technical writer, but I used to be. And they always talk down to me, and they would say things that are a bit stupid, or they go like, "What? What's wrong with Total Recall?" It's like, because the body's not pressure dependent. Yes, it is. It's like, no, it's not. Well, when you go deep into the water, the pressure kills you now, doesn't it? And I'm like looking at him going like, yes, we are subject to pressure, but that doesn't mean we're dependent on it. That's not the same thing.
And there's a difference between, going from 1 atmosphere to 10,000 atmosphere and going from 1 atmosphere to 0.
Yeah.
Okay? It's a very small change from 1 to 0. It's not that drastic. It sounds, okay, you're going in a vacuum, but, it's not that bad, really. Certain capillaries in your fingers are going to burst, and your eyes might have problems.
Yeah.
The air out of your lungs is going to be exposed.
Yeah, well, you suffocate in space.
Yeah.
That's the first thing that happens.
Yeah.
And you freeze.
Yes, you freeze, the main thing. But that's it. Your body's not going to explode because there's no pressure and you become a giant balloon. That does not happen.
Yeah, no, it's so ridiculous. And the special effects for it are kind of crappy.
Yeah, so there was no reason to put them in the movie because it looks hokey.
I mean, like, to a certain degree, I think it's well done in the sense that the transition between their normal face and their, like, explodey face is sort of seamless. Like, you don't know when they switch to puppet. Which is really well done, I find. But when they get to puppet and they're wiggling about, it's like, I was looking at that and it's going like, that looks like a Muppet. Like, that actually looks like a Jim Henson Muppet, just going like, and they're wiggling about.
It looked like bad claymation to me. It's sad that it happens towards the end of the movie, so that's like kind of the image you're left of it. Like those crazy puppets flailing around. You had this all previous movies with gunshots and people running around, and you end with that.
Yeah, it's the worst effect in the movie. Yeah. It really is.
Yeah, there was no reason, especially since all the other effects in the movie were very good.
Yeah,
and you're left with that one. Ugh.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Actually, let's talk about that. The effects otherwise are actually really good.
Yeah.
Because we're at the tail end of animatronics, essentially. Because a year later, Terminator 2 would come out and sort of gear every action movie towards digital effects from that point on. So we're really near the end of the era of animatronics. And I realized watching this, going like, they really had it down pat at this point. When Arnold takes out the tracer from his nose...
Yeah.
Obviously, like the tracer suddenly swells for no reason, and it becomes the size of his head when he tries to pull it out. So obviously, it can't be Arnold's real nose or head. So at some point, they switch to an animatronic, and you can't tell. You can't tell at all.
My favorite effect is when he's running away, and then he runs through the X-ray where they're screening for weapons, and he's stuck on both sides. And so you see him turn around towards the screen, and you see him get closer, and he just jumps through the X-ray screen, and he's basically jumping through glass. That was so well done. It was really seamless that you could see the skeleton. Okay, I had no choice. He turns towards the glass, and you see the skeleton getting bigger as he's getting through the glass, and then you see Arnold crash through it. That was so well done.
Yeah, it was great.
It was amazing.
The crazy woman suit also terrific stuff. Because it's fake because it doesn't make sense. Like, it's fake because it breaks every law of physics. But, like, when he takes off the mask and the mask sort of opens sideways, you're like, how did he do that? It started with a really believable woman, and then she just took off her head. And I'm like, I don't know when they switched to a plastic head.
Yeah. Although that effect kind of bugged me because you look at Arnold's head, and to me, it didn't quite look like him. It looked like a little weird version of him. Okay. And then he throws the mask down, and he has his normal head. It just looked weird to me a little bit.
That's a weird machine, though, you gotta say.
Yeah.
It's like, he has to take it off because it breaks down because he doesn't know how to say things other than 2 weeks or something like that.
Yeah.
And then he throws it, and then suddenly she goes like, "Get ready for a surprise." I'm like, "Oh, so you could say something other than 2 weeks? Like, what happened there?"
Well, he programmed it to only say, 2 weeks and get ready for a surprise. And that's it.
Like, and how does he activate that? Like, he throws ahead and like, does he have a remote control just for like one button that says explosion and the other button that says one-liner? Like, oh yeah, the pacing. I mentioned at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
Switching subject a little bit and gearing towards the rating slowly.
Yeah.
That I thought the first hour and a half were pretty cool, but the last half hour, because it's like almost 2 hours, this movie, an hour and 55 minutes, I think.
Pretty long.
I was bored. I think that's the major problem with this movie. It is too long. I started losing patience.
Really?
The Earth Society is really cool. The airport, when he gets to Mars, is really cool. Then we get to the Mars Society, and I'm really starting to go like, well, this is less fun, because it's just rocks everywhere. It's not as pretty to look at.
Oh my god, I know so many geologists that would kill you for saying that.
Well, they're plastic rocks. They're plastic rocks, though.
Okay.
What I
Nice save.
There are plastic rocks everywhere, and it's like, okay, yeah, the woman with the 3 boobs is kind of cool.
Yeah. You heard it here first. Mars is boring. It's just a bunch of damn rocks. So no more money for Mars research.
Did you actually get money from Mars research?
That's where all the money from NASA is going now.
Yeah, but does NASA actually get money? Like, I mean, to a substantial level that we actually should care.
That's a good point. But still.
But yeah, no, but like, just in terms of design, it's just all red and it's all the same thing
Yeah.
everywhere. It's like, whatever. And they introduce a new woman, and she's not interesting in any way.
No, she's not. We don't know why she's part of the rebellion. We don't know what her deal is. Okay, she had something with Arnold going in a time where he forgot, and that's about it. That's all you get from her.
Yeah.
She is very boring.
Yeah. And then you get introduced to mutants, and they're not all that interesting. I mean, like, the special effects, again, for them are really good. Like, there's one that's essentially a Siamese twin that's, wow, that was actually really well done.
Yeah.
But, like, whatever. It's like, I just don't care about these people. I really don't. And
I know.
I'm getting tired at that point.
They had kept on with the chasing and stuff like that going on Mars. That would have been good, especially, even when he leaves the airport and he goes to the hotel and he's still doing the spy stuff, this, Mr., welcome back, and, welcome back, have I been here? And, that was interesting. And then all of a sudden he meets all those Martian people, and yeah.
Yeah, because they had one colorful special effect and set piece one after the other, like the X-ray thing you mentioned, which I agree is terrific. And, the scene on the escalator is pretty original because it's just so blatant in his mayhem that you're like, I can't believe they just did that.
Yeah.
And once they get into Mars, it's just like dust, and rock. And nothing colorful, nothing new, nothing exposing a new society, because all they want to show you about the society is that it sucks to be there, but nothing more. And it's sort of like the movie stopped trying to create a world that would interest me, so naturally I stopped being interested. And then, then all is revealed, and you're excited again. That's kind of pretty cool. All the revelations come up, and you're like, oh, okay, that's kind of cool. I'm with this. And then you're ready for the final act with the final showdown, and that lasts like 27 minutes, and I'm like, oh, that's too long.
Yeah, that was too long, especially for what they did.
Yeah.
How much air does that room have that the vacuum sucks them over and over? I mean, it takes it takes maximum 20 seconds for air to leave a whole room, and you have a vacuum versus air. It empties really fast, and they're like holding on to the vacuum for like 5 minutes of getting sucked away in the vacuum. It's like, how much air was there in that room? Is there a pump making air as it's going along and it's getting emptied? It's ridiculous. The action at the end was just very lame compared to the beginning.
Yeah. And it's sort of James Bondy too, like when he uses the hologram watch, and it's like he's shooting bad guys all around, like, who, by the way, are dressed exactly like Starship Troopers, which distracted me to no end.
Oh, wow. Didn't notice that.
Like, I kept expecting Neil Patrick Harris to show up at some point. We're like, oh, the psychic.
He would have made the movie awesome.
It just devolves into the action movie that we thought we were going to get. It's Arnold shooting down bad guys, and that's it. And then it's Arnold transforming into Kermit the Frog.
Yes. And then kissing the girl.
And then kissing.
Spoiler alert.
And then saying a line that puts everything in doubt.
Yeah, I know.
I hate those endings. I
Yeah.
really do. Like, as much as I like Inception, those who've listened to who've read the review rather, I don't like those endings. I don't like those endings that goes like everything you know might be wrong. And I'm like, okay, then why did I watch this?
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, that brings me to another thing. Using the recall technology for vacation seems like a terrible waste of a really, really interesting technology.
I find a need and fill it. I mean, that's people can't afford
Yeah,
vacation.
but like you don't have to go to school anymore. You can just download stuff into your brain. You can
Maybe
just
that's what they
download the
do.
memory.
Maybe that's what they do. You don't know what else they do with the recall technology. You know they do vacations.
Well, no, because everybody's afraid of it. Everybody's going like, "Oh, don't go to the recall vacation. They'll mess with your mind." Everybody says that. So it seems that's the only thing they do with recall technology.
Yeah, well, maybe it's not. It's not ready yet.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't expose my kids to it if
Yeah.
we weren't ready to it.
Exactly.
Obviously. But it was kind of funny where there's one character who the bad guy goes like, "We're gonna brainwash you using the recall technology, and you're gonna be more compliant and blah blah blah." And it's like totally sexist crap stuff.
Yeah.
But what's kind of funny is that for the rest of the movie, she actually is more compliant and so. And it's like it's sort of a little in joke where you don't know if it actually succeeded or not.
Yeah, that's true.
That's kind of funny. But when I watched that, all I could think of is like, the bad guy at Mars could get rid of all the rebels by just picking the population one by one and just brainwashing them one by one. He has enough manpower to do it subtly, one at a time.
That's true.
And there you go, no more rebellion.
I did not think of that.
It's still bugging me a little bit. I was like, hey, this bad guy's complicating his life for nothing.
Yeah. The recall technology is for vacations only.
All right, what rating do you give the movie?
Well, I give it a C plus because I came in there thinking it was a vehicle for Arnold. I did not get the satire of the whole action, making fun of action and getting it from it. So to me, I guess it was poorly done because I didn't see it.
Mm-hmm.
So it was kind of fail for me. So I give it a C plus.
All right.
It's an Arnold movie. It's good for that, but I guess I would have to watch it again with that knowledge to see if it really works as a satire.
I give it a B minus, as I mentioned. I watch it as Paul Verhoeven taking the piss out of Arnold just a little bit. And Arnold being in on the joke, and that worked really well for me. I think what brings it down a little bit is that the pacing is a little bit off, where I just got tired of it after a while. It was full of good ideas, all on the front of the movie, and then at the end of the movie, it's just generic stuff, and I'm just tired, and I just want it to end, and I'm done with this. And especially since it's a sort of humor where a little goes a long way. Extreme violence is only funny for like the first couple of times you see it. After that, it's just like, well, it's violent. That's it. I got the joke the first time around.
Yeah.
And so I get the feeling that it's a movie that if you're a fan of cyberpunk or a fan of science fiction, yeah, you're gonna get a kick out of this. But if you're not, I don't think it really works.
Yeah.
The remake, like, what do you think about them making a remake of that stuff?
I saw Total Recall as two things. Well, now I see it as two things. One, a vehicle for Arnold, and two, like a joke of, a satire of what, Arnold's work. And how do you remake that, really? What's the point of remaking it? That the point of the movie was to showcase Arnold or to make fun of Arnold in his movies. So what is the remake going to do? I mean,
it's based on a short story. They could go back to the source material and just go through with it and do maybe the little "is it a dream, is it real" aspect.
I hate that.
More smart, but that's my problem with it is that if they try to do that, we've seen it once too many at this point. I'm sort of done with it. I forgave Inception for it because the rest of the movie is so creative.
Yeah, exactly. So they need to make it damn good. Already Inception has done it, and they need to make it even better because now it's been done. It's been done again and again. And it's been done great with Inception, so how do you make it even better than that? So let's see, Total Recall. Action vehicle for Robert Pattinson.
Oh! That's it. That is it. Robert Pattinson is Quaid. I think it's time to end the podcast.
Alright, fine.
He's just fascinated with the planet Mars, even though he's never been there. It's 2012. We've colonized Mars at this point, and the world has not ended, despite what Roland Emmerich says. And
the Mayans are saying that, not Roland Emmerich.
Actually, the Mayans are not saying anything about 2012. That's what led to the speculation.
That's a good point.
So he's dreaming of Mars all the time, and he decides to take a little recall vacation. Now, a recall vacation is for people who don't actually want to take a vacation, but just want to have the memory of having taken a vacation. They mess with your mind. They implant memories of a vacation in your head.
Yeah.
So he goes there and he takes the secret agent package, where he'll have the memories of a secret spy adventure and get to enjoy that, which to me is really weird, because it's sort of like, that's fake.
Yeah,
it's
so
like,
how can they guarantee that the memories are... You won't know that the difference between these memories and your real memories. He knows he's not a spy, so if he gets the spy package, he'll know those are implanted memories. That's just weird to me. But and it delivers that. To me, the story and the whole, the mystery and everything was kind of subpar to me. But you had kick-ass action from Arnold, and if you go in the movie wanting that, which is what most people did in 1990, it's an Arnold movie, let's go watch it, he'll kick ass. And that's what you get, really.
It's funny, I have actually a different take on that. It's based on a Philip K. Dick story, which they've actually adapted a couple of times, if I recall. Total Recall. And for a second there, I thought I had broke Nick.
You kind of did.
And it's directed by Paul Verhoeven, who, of course, did RoboCop, Starship Troopers, Showgirls. And he has a peculiar sense of humor, and when I was watching it, there is that sort of sense of distance to it, where I don't think it's a vehicle for Arnold in the sense of, like, you want to see him kick ass, he kicks ass. I think that's what the producers thought they were getting, but it feels a little bit like Verhoeven is taking the piss out of Schwarzenegger, because the violence is actually mostly played for laughs when you look at it. There's a dude shooting a rat and the blood spray.
It's just a small nitpick, really.
Yeah. I said I was a spy for 2 weeks.
Yeah. Then I quit. It wasn't for me.
It seems like a line of business where you'd create a lot of paranoid schizophrenics down the line. I'm just saying. But it's like that's exactly where the story goes. Something goes wrong with the recall process, and they realize that this guy already has spy memories, or so we're told. And they just sort of dump him in a taxi somewhere, trying to get rid of him. And then a real spy plot unfolds, which involves the colonization of Mars and him being a quadruple agent, and everybody he knows not being who they really are, and all of that.
Yeah.
And to say any more details about it, I guess, would be spoilery, because you sort of discover that journey along with him. But suffice to say that he sort of steps into a James Bond movie where everything's a conspiracy.
Yes. It was what it set out to be, a vehicle for Arnold Schwarzenegger, and that was about it. The point of this movie was to see Arnold do action stuff.
Ladders all around the screen on Arnold's face. I'm a freaking rat, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
And the violence is so extreme. Like when there's a scene where they start shooting each other on an escalator, and everybody dies on the escalator, and nobody cares. And just to drive the point home that they think that's kind of funny, they actually show Arnold stepping on the bodies before leaving. Like, just flat out walking on a guy's head because he doesn't give a damn.
Yeah, well, he's running away. He's not really,
No, he's not being mean, the character, but it's just sort of like they deliberately show a shot of, like, Arnold having absolutely no care for human life at this point.
But it's still Arnold doing Arnold stuff, action stuff, and that's what that's what most people went into, wanting to see that movie. I guess that's why people think it's so great.
But I think you're supposed to take it with a certain distance, is what I'm saying. I think it's taking it a little bit as a joke. I think it's making fun a little bit, because the violence is so ridiculous.
Yes, it is. That's true.
People lose limbs in the most idiotic ways in that movie.
Yeah, with an elevator, just and then.
This is our continuation of our Don't F with the original series, where we're going to review original movies that are currently being remade.
I'm Nicholas. I do research in astrophysics.
And I am Dimitri, editor-in-chief of Idiomanic and film critic. Today, as you might have guessed from the music, we are reviewing Total Recall.
How would they have guessed that from the music?
Because they heard the music and they might have guessed it.
Yeah, because your rendition was dead on.
Well, I also put the real soundbite before.
Oh, okay.
Somebody's not listening to the product.
No, I don't. I really don't.
Alright, so Total Recall. Arnold Schwarzenegger plays John Quaid. He's a construction worker married to the gorgeous Sharon Stone, who spends most of the movie really sweaty for some reason. Not that I'm complaining. And